Hey guys, today I'm going to do a video called Racing in the Rain, Part 6, Chapter 6. There's a lot of parts. Subscribe, hit the notifications, like this video. Alright, let's start. Okay guys, so here's Chapter 6, Racing in the Rain, My Life as a Dog. Let's read. Her name was Evie, and at first I listened to how she changed our lives. I resented the action Jenny paid to her small hands and her slender body, the way he gazed into her soft green eyes, which peered out from under slyish strands of straight blonde hair. Did I ever engage in her smile? Perhaps I did, for she was a person unlike me. She was well-groomed. Unlike me, she was everything I wasn't. I went for extended periods without a haircut or a bath. For instance, she bathed every day and had a special person do nothing else but color her hair. My nails grew too long and scratched the wood floor. She regularly added to her nails with sticks and clippers and polishers to make sure they were the proper shape or size. Her attention to every detail of her appearance was reflected with her personality as well. She was incredibly organized, constantly making lists and jotting down notes of things to be done. Our weekends were filled with trips to the Home Depot or waiting in line to the disposal recycling station in Georgetown. I didn't like painting roofs and fixing doorknobs and washing screens. But Denny liked it, apparently because the more she gave him collected his reward. Because the more she gave him to do, the more quickly he completed his tasks. Then he collected his reward, which usually included a lot of nuzzling and kissing. Soon after she moved into our apartment, they were married in a small wedding ceremony. I attended along with a group of their closest friends and Evie's immediate family. Denny didn't have any brothers or sisters to invite, and he explains his parents' appearance supply by saying that they didn't travel well. The wedding took place at a charming little beach cottage on Willoughby Island. Evie's parents made it clear to all involved that the house was all owned by close friends of theirs. I was allowed to participate only under strict rules. I was not to roam freely on the beach, and as I might track sand on the expensive marble floors, and I was forced to do my business in a very secluded location to the recycling containers. Upon our return from Willoughby, I noticed that Evie moved through our apartment with a greater sense of ownership. She was much blonder in her actions to move or replace things, towels, liners, and even furniture. She had She had entered our lives and changed everything around, and yet, while I was unhappy with her integration, there was something about her that prevented me from being really angry with her. I believe the thing was her swollen belly. True, I was very jealous of the attention Evie lavished on her unborn baby, but looking back, I realized I have never been given a reason to give the same attention to me. Perhaps this is my regret. I love how she was when she was pregnant, and yet I knew I could never be the source of her attention in that way because I could never be her child. She delivered herself to the baby before it was even born. She touched it regularly through her tightly stretched skin. She sang to it and danced with it to music. She played on a stereo. She learned to make it move around by drinking orange juice, which she did frequently. She once asked if I wanted to know what it felt like, and I did. So she held my face against her belly after she drank the juice, and I felt it move. It was hard for me to imagine exactly what it was going on behind that magical curtain, but I knew what I was in. Stop. But I knew.
Stop what?
Wait. But I knew I was the. But I knew. But I knew that was. But I knew that was what. But I knew that what was inside of her was separated from her, and had a will of its own. I admire the female sex, the life markers. It must be amazing to have a body that can carry an entire creature inside. I mean, other than a tramp wolf, which I had, that doesn't count really. The life that Evie had inside her was something she had made. She and Denny had made it together. I wished at that time that the baby would look like me. I wished at that time the baby would look like me. I remember the day the baby arrived. I had just reached adulthood. 2 years by calendar count. Denny was in Diona, Florida, from the drive of his career. He had spent the entire year.
You are Nutella. You are.
Jasmine. I remember the day the baby arrived. I had just reached adulthood. 2 years by calendar. Oh my God. I remember the day the baby arrived. I had just reached adulthood. 2 years by calendar count. Denny was in Diana, Florida, from the drive of his career. He had spent the entire year contacting sponsors, begging, pledging, and hustling. I don't know. One day he got lucky and found the right person in his right hotel lobby to say, "You've got guts, son. Call me tomorrow." Thus, he found the Salzburg dollars, and he was able to buy a seat in Portsbowl 993 for the 24-hour race at Diona. Amateur racing is not for the meek. For drivers, each spending 6 hours behind the wheel of a loud, powerful race car in an exercise of indeterminate. The 24 hours of Diona is unexpected as it is exciting that Denny was presented with a chance to drive in it. The same year that his daughter would be born was one of those coincidences that was open to interruptions. Evie was dismayed by the unfortunate times of the events. Denny celebrated the great opportunity and the feeling that he had everything he could possibly ask for. Still, the timing was off. One day of the race, Evie felt the contrasts and called the midways. They came and invaded our home and quickly took charge. Later that evening, as Denny was driving at Dinyora, Evie stood bent over the bed with two round ladies who helped her by holding her arm. Then, with a monstrosity bellow that seemed to last an hour, I squinted a little web blob that wriggled sparkly and then cried out. The ladies helped Evie into her bed and rested the tiny purple thing on her chest until the baby searching mouth found Evie's breast and began to feed. Could I have a minute alone? Evie started. Of course, one of the ladies said, moving to the door. Come with us, puppy, the other lady said to me on her way out. No, Evie stopped them. He can stay. I could stay? To spare myself. I felt proud to be included in Evie's inner circle. The two ladies bustled off, and I watched in fascination as Evie stuck the new baby. After a few minutes, my attention drifted from the baby's first meal to Evie's face, and I saw that she was crying, and I wondered why. She let her free hand dangle to the side, her fear gaze near my muscle, her fingers near my muscle. I hissed it. I didn't want to presume she was beckoning me. But then her fingers wiggled and her eyes caught mine, and I knew she was calling me, and I bumped her hand with my nose. She lifted her fingers to the crown of my head and scratched, still crying, her baby still nursing. I know I told him to go, he said to me, referring to Denny. I know that I was insisted to go. I know that I insisted he go. I know. Tears ran down her cheeks, but I so wish he was here. I had no idea what to do, but I knew not to move. She needed me there. Will you promise to always protect her? She asked. She wasn't asking me. She was asking Denny, and I was merely Denny's substitute. Still, I felt the obligation. I understood that, as a dog, I could never be as connected, and as I truly desired. Yet I realized at that moment I could be something else. I could provide something of need to the people around me. I could comfort Evie when Denny was away. I could protect Evie's baby, and while I would always want more, in a sense I have found a place to begin. The next day, Denny came home from Diana, Florida, unhappy. His mood immediately changed when he held his little girl, who was named Zoe, not after me, but after Evie's grandmother. Do you see my little angel Eds? Do you see my little angel Eds? He asked me. Did I see her? Did I see her? I practically birthed her. Denny was very careful around Evie's parents. Maxwell and Tris has been in the house since Zoe was born, taking care of her daughters and her new baby granddaughter. I began calling them the twins because they looked very much alike. They had the same shade of dyed hair. Plus, they always wore matching outfits. Kaha pads or pasture slacks with sweaters or polo shirts. When one of them wore sunglasses, the other did too. The same with Burma shorts and tall socks pulled up to their knees. And because they were both smells of chemicals, plastics, and hair products, from the moment they arrived, the twins have been circulating Evie for having her baby at home. They told her she was engaging her baby's welfare, and that in these modern times it was impossible to give birth anywhere but in the best of all hospitals with the most expensive of all doctors. Evie tried to explain them that statistics showed exactly the opposite was true for a healthy mother. Also, that any signs of disease would have been recognized early by her experienced team of midwives. But the twins didn't understand. Fortunately for Evie, Denny's arrival home meant the twins could turn their attention away from her faults and focus on his. Ah! As they stood in the kitchen, Denny told Maxwell about the disappointing results of the race at Diana. Last 2 pages. That's a lot of bad luck, the male twins said to Nanny as they stood in the kitchen. Maxwell was gloating. I could hear it in his voice. Do you get any of your money back? Tris asked. Denny was very unhappy, and I wasn't sure why until Mike came over later that night, and Denny opened their beers together. It turned out that Denny had been going to take the third stunt driving at Diona. The car had been running well, everything going great. They were in second place and Denny would easily take the lead as the sunlight faded and the night driving began until the guy who had the second turn driving slammed the car into the wall on turn 6. He crashed it when a Diona Prairie, a much faster car, was overtaking. First rule of racing, never move aside to let someone pass. Make him pass you. But the drivers on Denny's team moved over, and he hit a bad patch on the track. When he did, the rear end snapped around and he plowed into the wall at pretty close to top speed. The car shattered into a million little pieces. The driver was unhurt, but the race was over for the team. And Denny, who had spent a year working for this moment, found himself standing by the side of the racetrack, watching the opportunity of his lifetime getting dragged away by a tow truck. He hadn't had a chance to sit in for a single race lap. And you don't get any of your money back? Mike said, after Denny had finished telling him the story. I don't care about any of that, Denny said. I should have been here. The baby came early. You can't know what's going to happen before it happens. Yes, I can, Denny said. If I'm any good, I can... Yes, I can, Denny said. If I'm any good, I can. Anyway, Mike said, lifting his beer bottle. To Zoe. To Zoe? Denny, okay. To Zoe, I said to myself. Whom I will always protect. And then, chapter 7. It was a lot of reading, but I dropped the bookmark. Wait a minute, guys. Okay, got the bookmark. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Oh my god, where's the background music? I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please subscribe, hit the notifications, and yeah. I will be posting another video, which is my hotel. You'll see. You'll see what it looks like. It's gonna be cool. I promise. And anyways, goodbye. Let's do the outro. Hello, outro. Coming. Bye, guys. This is my new outro. Cool, right? I know. My crew is awesomeness. And anyways, goodbye. Stay fluffy, stay cute, stay rockin', and stay fantastic. Bye.